What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Itz-Beez-Da, TrackStar, and welcome back to Dancehall Masterclass Chapter 5, Sampling. Let's continue on. So in the last video, we take a look at, breaking down our progression, figuring out the cards and all of that type of stuff. We're going to continue on with that, but this time we're going to take a look at certain tools what we can use for break down different progressions and all of that, and find out key and in some cases tempo and all of that type of stuff. But tempo is not really important because a lot of the times the tempo will always conform to what you have a go on. So if your tempo what you use is 90, then your tempo for that specific sample will be probably 90. And we'll look how we can stretch tempo already earlier in the chapter. So let's look at some tools. So I have a few specialized tools that I use personally, right? So let's right click on this first track and we'll go to file and we'll go to beat our key detective. So I call this key detective because with these three VSTs here, I can find the key for any sample. Now this Haunted Song key MK3 is absolutely trash. I just kept it in this file just because, but this is trash. It's version 2 is much better. Song key 3 is garbage. So let's keep it up. So let's get rid of this playlist track here. Let's also delete. Alright, we can keep let's delete this as well. And now let's go and grab just some sample. Don't really matter. Let's go Singular Sounds, Summer House. Let's go Melody Loops. And let's find a loop I would like. Alright, so here we have a sample. 110 is the tempo. Let's set that to the correct tempo. 110. There we go. So with that being set to 110, of course, like we talked about earlier, we don't have to adjust anything. The tempo will automatically match up and fit what we have going on because it's the tempo of the actual loop, right? So let's say we didn't know that this loop was F major, right? Typically when you see a letter with no minor or major behind it, you assume that it's major. It's not always the case, but you assume that way. So let's take this track, put this on track 1, and send it through all the key detective stuff. We'll play the loop and see what the key detectives tell us that the key is. Alright, cool. So there you have it. Auto key from Antares say F major. The Haunted Song key version 2 say F major, and it's saying that it's 44% accurate. And then the Haunted Song key 3 tells us that the BPM is 46 and that the key is D minor, which is exactly why I say this is garbage. Don't use it. Please stay far from it. So now that we know that the progression now is F major, we can now go to the sampler or the step sequencer and add the cards or the keys for F major. So let's go into this MIDI folder. Let's drag this and drop it here. So we have F major in the piano roll. Cool. So now that we know the proper key, we can now use that information to deduct or to find out the cards, right? Now this card progression is a little bit weird because it's not typically even, there's a lot of offbeat transitions in it, right? So let's bring this progression down a little bit in terms of volume, and let's then go into Nexus and dive deeper into these tools that we can use to figure out our card progressions. So let's put this on unsorted piano roll, and now let's try and find out the progression. So the big benefit to the song key is that it will sometimes accurately, sometimes inaccurately, and sometimes more than not accurately decide what chords are being played. So if I were to press play right now, notice it's saying that it's F major. For every chord that's being played, it's not changing. It's saying that it's F major, right? So we could try that and see if that fits, you understand? Sometimes it will be right, sometimes it won't be right. Like I said, it's just a trial and error thing. The last deciding factor should always be your ears. If your ears is saying that it's right, then it's right, because at the end of the day, that's what's consuming the music. You know what I mean? So let's try F major, our F major chord, and see if that works. So that will be F, A, and C. And like I said, I don't know music theory. The way or the reason that I can tell that that's F, A, and C is because a major chord will always have 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, between the first 2 notes, right? So that's why I said F, and then 3 notes up, we have A. And then another 2 notes up after that, now we have C, you know, so 3 between the first 2, 2 between the last 2, all right? And then we could even go a bit further, because we could put 4 between the last 2 and 6 between the first 2. You understand what I'm saying? But now this is a D major chord instead of a F major chord. So a lot of little nuances, you know, of course we cover all of that. So let's focus on the tools. So this said that the key or the chord was F. So if we play, then we have a change in tone, of a change in sound. So let's see if that that transition will carry over. Let this be a little bit louder. So let's see if that transition carries over into a different chord. So now it changes to C major, and you have to realize as well that there is a small delay. It's not going to be instant, because the VST has to get the signal, process it, and then spit back out what it thinks the chord is. So don't feel like it should be instant. It will never be instant, because it needs time to process the information, right? So it's saying C major, so now you have to just use your common sense and say, all right, so we are here at F. The sound got deeper and darker. It didn't get brighter. The closest C is down here to the chord as opposed to up here, right? So you go here and it's saying C major, that means C major. So you go C, E, because once again there's 3 notes in between, C sharp, D, and D sharp. And then between the last 2, G, you have F and F sharp. So now if we play, now we're going to another chord. It's saying that it's B flat major, right? So if we find B flat right here, but look, it's saying A sharp. There's nothing wrong with that, because it depends on how you are looking and what direction you are traveling on the piano roll. If you are going backwards, it's a flat. If you are going forwards, it's a sharp. So in this situation, this one key is A sharp, or it's B flat, right? So B flat major once again. So that progression would be A sharp, D, and then F, because once again 3 notes between B, C, C sharp, and then 2 notes between D sharp and E. Cool. So let's play that. And remember, the transitions are offbeat, so it won't sound right the first time, but I'll get it correct. So we have a transition here. All right, so now we have to ask, does this get brighter or does this get darker? It gets brighter. So let's just transpose everything up 1 octave. All right, cool. So we go up and then we come to a G minor chord now. So you just look, where is the closest G? Right here. So we shorten this up. Remember, a minor chord will always have 2 notes between the first 2 notes. So we have G, A sharp, and D. and that's G minor. Cool, so let's stress this out, and then let's stress this out. Cool, so this is saying now, we go back to a B flat major, but it's a darker tone, so we will take this, copy, paste, drop it on octave, and shift it over. And then from there, we go to A minor, which would be A, C, and E. And that is our progression, right? So let's take this. Cool, so now let's do this. Let's try and replicate the progression because we have figured out the chords. So now let's try and redo the progression the way it's being played. So the first one is, I believe, and there you go. That's the progression. Let's try and change this sound. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the progression, you know. So in the next video, we'll continue on with the auto key and the haunted song key, and then I'll introduce a third way how you can get key information and MIDI information from samples, right? So until then, it's your boy Itz-Beez-Da, the TrackStar. Peace.